Locked here with Nocturne Gaming, back with more Legends of Idleon, and today we're taking a look at the Bowman talent build. A quick note before we get started, this is on a higher level character, so I may have more talent points than you do, but the overall goal of this is to show you the talent priority more than completing the full build. But with all that being said, let's get started, and we're going to start with tab 1. And our priority on here will always start with Gilded Sword, as this gives you a boost to your damage to monsters. So we want to max that out. Our second priority will be Sharpened Axe, as this gives you a bonus to your weapon power and is a great way to increase your damage early on. From there, we do want to have at least 50 points into Idle Shooting, as this can give us 10% more AFK gain rates while fighting. It's not really worth going above this, as at 100 points you only get about 17% from your AFK gain rates. So after that, our next priority is going to be putting points into Featherweight, as the main damage from a Bowman comes from movement speed. Our next priority will be putting points into our Quickness Boots or into our Fist of Rage, and this depends on if we need accuracy or not at this point. If you have enough accuracy on your character, you can ignore Fist of Rage, but you will probably need some. So we'll go ahead and put it in here just so you can see how much accuracy we're actually gaining. And then we'll go ahead and max out our Quickness Boots for now, but we will need to come back to this as we get more points available in Quickness Boots from tab 3. It is worth mentioning that if you have enough spare talent points, you want to max out your Idle Shooting, as the AFK gain rate percentage is very good for us, but it's not a big priority after 50 points. The other things worth mentioning are damage boost from Book of the Wise, as this can give you more mana, which will allow you to use your abilities more often. And the other one is Lucky Clover, and this can give you an increase to your drop rate as well as your EXP gains. But with our points in tab 1, let's go ahead and start looking at tab 2 now. And our priority here gets a little messed up, but we will always want to max out your high polymer limbs as soon as possible. So we'll max that one out. And then from here you have two that are about equivalent, and that is your strafe, as we want as much movement speed as we can. There is some gimmicks to this that we'll talk about when we get to tab 3, but we're going to go ahead and max it out for now. And then the other one on the same priority level is Veins of the Infernal, as this gives you more damage based on how high your smithing level is. And this boost is quite significant, and it can give us quite a bit more damage. From here, there is a couple things that we need to know, and that is that there's a hidden multiplier when you're offline, and this is based on having active ability or talent points in active abilities. So you want to make sure you have at least 20 to 30 points in each of these two talents, as they can give us more damage or more kills per hour while we're offline. It is worth noting that Piercing Arrow does give you a more significant boost, so it may be worth putting, say, only 10 points into Kung Fu Kick and 30 points into Piercing Arrow, as you can get more damage out of this. The higher level that you get up this talent, it becomes a lot more useful in active play. The other one that we want to talk about for abilities is using Have Another, as this can give you additional arrows fired, and I generally want about 40 points in this, as it'll give me about a 60% chance to fire an additional arrow, which is pretty good. But back to our priority now, and our priority should be in Garb of Unaging Quality, as this gives us more agility from our equipment, and this scales fairly well, so it gives us quite a bit more from each piece of equipment that we can upgrade. After that, our next bonus would be from Sanic Speed, and this is just a flat agility increase for you. If you have a ton of spare talent points left over, there's a couple things that can be useful for utility, and I recommend, if you have enough points, putting into Smelting every day, as this can give you a lot more forging progress and lets you get the materials you need to continue upgrading your gear a little bit easier. If you have additional excess points after this, it is worth looking at Robin Hood, as this can increase your monster drop rarity and make it a little easier to get those rare items. But for now, let's go ahead and put our points into Smelting every day. We should have some excess from tab 3, which we'll look at next. All right, so moving on to tab 3 now, and our priority will always be speed DNA here, as this gives us more damage based on your movement speed. So for every 15% movement speed you have above 100%, you'll get more damage. Now this is only effective at those breakpoints, so I won't get another damage boost until I actually get to 190%. But we'll go ahead and max this out so you can kind of see how much the damage increases using this. And it's quite significant. If I can push somehow to get to the next breakpoint, it's even more significant, as in it's an additional 39% damage for me. But back to our priorities now. Our priority should be putting points into agility again now, and this just gives us a way to increase our quickness boots on tab 1 even more. And then from here, you want to put points into velocity vessels, as this will allow you to increase the level of featherweight even more. However, this is based on the level of your archer or bust bubble in alchemy. So however high that alchemy bubble is how high you should max this. Mine's currently at 33, so I can put 33 points into this and it will give me the maximum benefit I can get until I level up my bubble some more. But moving back to our priority, from here you should be putting points into Swifty statues, as the speed bonus here from the statues can help push you a little bit closer to the next breakpoint. So with all of that, I'm currently at 188%, and our next priority will be at previous points, as this allows us to put more talent points back into tab 2. So this will give us a few more talent points for more damage or more rarity drop, things like that. So after this, we really need to decide how we want to put points into our attack talents, and the priority here should be putting points into your magic short bow, as this gives you the best AFK kill multiplier. And then you definitely want to have some points into homing arrows, as it's one of the top damage abilities. So if you're more of an active player, you may want to have more points into homing arrows as well, so maybe making these a little more equal. But for now, we're going to put about 50 points into magic short bow and 20 points into homing arrows, and that'll let us get started here. I also recommend having 1 point into Flax Instastring, as this will allow you to have the magic short bow, which is useful for active play. With any talent points you have left over, it is worth investing into Shoe Full of Obols at this point. The damage bonus is really pretty small, but it is more agility, and more agility equals more movement speed and more progress in smithing and those kinds of things. So we'll go ahead and push that up, and we're at 189% now. And we should be able to move back over to tab 1 now and increase our quickness boots to the next level. And this will actually get us to 190%, and my damage bonus got another big boost here. So with any of my talent points left over, I want to finish maxing out idle shooting here, and then I prefer to go into Lucky Clover for more drop rate and EXP gain with any leftover talent points that I have. So we'll go ahead and put some points in there, and that will make this build pretty much complete, but we do have one more section to go over. So the last set of talents that I want to go over with you is the star talent page, and there's a few priorities here. First, I would put points into Will of the Eldest and the best beginner class as soon as you can. Most of my classes are just under level 200, so I'm going to put 20 points into each of these. If your highest class levels are lower, you don't need as many points here, as it's just not effective because it's capped based on your highest level characters. After this, put points into Attacks on Simmer to help boost your AFK gains, and TikTok is also another great talent for more AFK gain rate. Hemoglobin is a great talent to help with your survivability, and I would max this out as soon as you can. From there on to tab 2, our priority should be putting points into Dungeonic Damage, as this gives you more damage based on how many dungeon credits you've earned. And this is lifetime. You don't need to actually have these dungeon credits in your inventory. It's just as long as you've gained them, they count for this. So I would max this out as soon as you can. And from there, I would go into Frothy Malk for more bonuses to your foods and potions. We're going to go over potions in just a second because Archer gets more movement speed from that, but we'll finish that after the talent build is done. So from here, everything else is pretty much optional, but I do like putting points into telekinetic storage for more carry capacity. I also always have 1 point into sampling and into Shrine Architect, as I can place my shrines down with this character now. There's also great options for lower level characters. Using Pulsation can help you regenerate your mana, which will allow you to use your attack skills more often if you're playing actively. Cardiovascular is great for your card drop chance, and Just XP is one that I find to be 100% necessary, as this gives you more class XP and can help you level and get more talent points. There is one more that I want to mention. It's not within the World 3 scope, but with the new update, there is a few new star talent points, and there's one that's really good for early game archers. You can get more movement speed by using the tiptoe quickness here. However, keep in mind that this is only effective up to 200% speed. Once you're above 200% speed, this will no longer give you any more movement speed, and this won't go over 200% until you get above that movement speed without using this talent. So it can be a way to get a little bit more damage from your character by using a few more star talent points for you. There are a few more things I want to mention, and that's to make sure you remember to assign your attacks to your action bars. So on tab 2, you've got a few talents to assign, and then make sure you have your strafe here, and make sure you activate this talent before you go offline. It won't activate it automatically, but as long as it's active before you go offline, it'll stay active until you log back on and allow you to keep your movement speed up for that more damage, which means more kills per hour. On tab 3, you do have 2 more skills here that you can assign to your attack bar. And then you also have your star talents for your carry capacity, printer sampling, and shrines. And because movement speed is so important on Archer, I didn't want to forget this. So when you have your attacks active, make sure you're using your strafe, and that makes your movement speed go up. And then you also have these potions that can help increase your movement speed as well. So if you assign these, you'll notice a large jump to your movement speed, which gave me a massive boost to my damage here. Just make sure you're refilling these as often as possible, and that you keep these active to get more damage out of your archer from that movement speed. A last thing I wanted to mention is that there is a way to reset all of your talent points if you mess up in assigning your talents or there's new updates, and that is by using the star talent reset potion here, as this will allow you to instantly reset your points and let you reassign them. There's also the star talent reset potion that will allow you to reset specifically your star talents. This can be crafted in Anvil tab 2 or purchased from the gym shop. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying this type of content, and a huge shout out to our Patreon members that support the work we do. Thank you from all of us here at Nocturne Gaming. If you would like to become a patron and get some added benefits, check out the link in the description. If you have any thoughts, comments, or questions, please leave them down below for me, and we'll see you next time.